Yes, welcome back to Football Heritage TV for another episode of 10 in 10. And we've only gone and got haven't we? We've got James Redmond from James Redmond TV. James, how are you? Long time no see.
I'm amazing, bud. I'm amazing. Do you know what? You got a perfect guest for this show, because did you know you just got a 10 out of 10 supporter for your 10 to 10 show? That's what
there we go.
That's the type of recruitment that you get on this YouTube channel. If you don't like and you don't subscribe, I don't know what you're doing.
Listen, look, it's gonna be lively. It always is when you're around. I've seen you on having discussions with expressions oozing and those sort of people.
Yes.
Always good fun to watch you. And Liverpool winning the league, are they?
I don't know, but technically still in a title race, but can the title race be maintained is the real question. That's where I'm a little bit unsure.
Absolutely. Look, for anybody that's not seen this at home, this is 10 in 10, where we speak to YouTubers, ex-players, pundits. We ask them 10 quick-fire football questions about their club and other clubs in football, and it's their opinion. If you think James is wrong on any of his opinions, just put it in the chat, but it is his opinion. So James, are you ready for question number 1?
Let's do this.
Okay, nice easy one to start with. Who is the best Liverpool player in the Premier League era and why?
So this is interesting because you can go with yourself and you can go with the majority opinion. Both is Steven Gerrard. Both with Steven Gerrard for me. I think that he's highly regarded as, in some people's eyes, the best Premier League player of all time. I don't think that's a ludicrous argument as well. In terms of Premier League midfielder, I think there's very few that touch him. Of course, there's candidates, but for what he was able to do in big games, I understand it's Premier League. So one of the rebuttals that you can give to me is go, well, hang on a minute, James, how can you say he's the best Premier League midfielder of all time, yet he hasn't won a Premier League? That's where life just isn't fair sometimes, and life doesn't make sense all the time. That's the way it is, okay?
Are you rebuttaling your own argument? Is that what you're doing here? You're going,
I'm attacking the devil's avocado before it's presented to me, preempting the objection.
Love it. Absolutely love it. I mean, we've had a couple of other Liverpool fans on. We've had 3 different answers when answering this question. Yeah, I've had a Luis Suarez.
Okay,
I'm sure I've had a Luis Suarez above
pound for pound, based on what he did in that time, and he is like, if you say about he's the best number 9 in recent history for me, and to have had that player at the club, I get why people would say it. He is, more well-rounded. I'm saying Gerrard, with a few other factors taken into it, but on that one season, I've never seen anyone do what Suarez done for us ever.
Class act. Well, both class acts. Next one. You can give me 2 or 3 names if you want, or 10.
Let's go, mate. Let's do it, mate.
What's the worst Liverpool player in the Premier League era? You can give me a few. Who did you truly not enjoy?
Oh, yeah, that's a great question. All right. So first and foremost, we signed Aquilani from Italy. Now he was supposed to be boss lad, the bee's knees, proper maestro in Italy, and then he comes over and he looks absolutely diabolical every single game. I was like, there's not a chance he could have been a high-level footballer in Italy. It's not possible. How does it translate into these type of performances? He was diabolical. Another player, Loris Karius, never enjoyed him. Based on calling him the worst would be harsh, because he had some fine games, but he is by far, like, when he had a bad game or a blunder, it was like watching Onana now, unbearable throughout the duration. Because you see some goals that Onana concedes for Man United, and you go, that is a blunder. Like, even I could look. Kyle Walker went in goal and looked better than that at times. He looked like a goalkeeper. But you can't say the same for Onana. Loris Karius was very much the same. Aquilani, because he was like 20 million back in 2011 or 10. That was a lot of money. And he was terrible. He was terrible. So him, and then Mario Balotelli. Liverpool shirt did not give 2 shiny shites about our team. There's not a chance you can say you care about a football club or want a football club to win and translate those performances. They were terrible, mate. He was poor.
He was definitely An enigma, I would say, would be the right word for Balotelli. Had it all, but didn't translate into performances. Okay. Now I'm intrigued from your first answer to your first question, whether or not that's going to translate here. Who's the best player to have ever played in the Premier League?
Thierry Henry.
Not Steven Gerrard?
Nah. Steven Gerrard's best Premier League midfielder. Thierry Henry is one of those.
I had LB yesterday telling me that Kevin De Bruyne was the best.
That's not true. It's tough. It's tough to be the best player in the Premier League history when you're not even the best Premier League midfielder, with all due respect. De Bruyne is world class. Absolutely elite. He's an elite player. But please do not sit there and say he's the best Premier League midfielder. And if he's not the best Premier League midfielder, now we've got a problem. When we say the sentence, he's the best player that the Premier League's ever seen, that is so disingenuous to players like Luis Suarez, that is so disingenuous to players like Thierry Henry. And I could count a 10, 15, 20 list of players who deserve to be in that conversation more than Kevin De Bruyne. But that's not to downgrade Kevin De Bruyne. It's more how good the players we should actually be talking about is. That's a disgraceful shout. Was he a Man City fan?
Yeah, you know LB. You've been on with LB before on Science Channel.
Sorry, I never heard you say LB. LB, that's a disgrace. That is a disgrace. And I'm furious to have heard that opinion. It was either he was a City fan or he's 15. It's one or the other. There's no way.
He's City fan. But you did pick Thierry Henry. Why did you pick Thierry Henry?
He's not even the best player for City, though. So why is he saying best Premier League? David Silva's done so many things that Kevin De Bruyne can't do. And you're saying Kevin De Bruyne's so clear. Thierry Henry was just... What wasn't he? He was horrible to play against. Like everyone that people say went, Núñez is chaos. Well, how about Thierry Henry is chaos as well as ability, as well as headaches, as well as great at finishing. He was a numbers guy. He was a numbers before numbers was super necessary. You could still be considered a top class striker if you're not getting 30 goals a season, because 30 goals wasn't the metric. It was how much could you dominate in certain games? And usually it was the big games. And Thierry Henry, he never, Champions League and stuff with Arsenal, I get it. But, it's one of those where he was still a big game player. And, he scored in big games, especially in the league. And he's not disrespected. He's not underrated. Thierry Henry's perfectly rated, because I think a lot of people hold the same opinion of him being the best. And, I think he deserves the shout. Yeah,
top player. As a Spurs fan, it's horrible to admit that, but every time we played Arsenal, it was like, oh my God, he's going to destroy us. Him and Anelka.
Anelka, mate, I'll tell you that for free. He was a player as well when he was younger. Absolute player. Do you know what, though, as well? A quick shout out before we go on to the next question. Eden Hazard doesn't get mentions enough in that conversation, in my opinion.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think that is?
Unbelievable. Just the things that he could do right, on a sense of, you saw Messi do things and you're like, no one else could do that. And then Eden Hazard started doing some of it. Not all of it. I'm not saying he's Messi, but I'm just saying, unbelievable things you didn't think was possible only by Lionel Messi. Eden Hazard started to do those things.
Do you think with Hazard it was more the consistency? I think everyone knew he was a fabulous player.
Yeah. But let's not blow out of proportion the inconsistency part. It was 2 bad seasons at most. 2 bad seasons at most out of 6, 7, 8. So I don't think that's a fair argument. When people say Luis Suarez, for instance, being so good in the Premier League, the sample size was tiny, yes. But Michael Owen, when he was at Liverpool, you don't now disclude that version out of Michael Owen when it comes to talking about Michael Owen as a good striker. You talk about Michael Owen's peak. He was terrible at Newcastle, very average. And that's also I'm saying for Eden Hazard. Peak Eden Hazard was still a good 4 or 5 year spell. And it was brilliant. Just deserves a mention, because he doesn't get enough.
Top player, top footballer. Next question. The best manager to have managed in the Premier League era. Who and why?
Pep Guardiola.
Okay. Not Sir Alex.
No, he's obviously close number 2.
Okay.
So I think Pep Guardiola has... I think he's done so much. Here's the score. Yet you can have the most resources in football. Chelsea at one point was that. In a if you're going to try and look at what the money was for that time, it was lower with inflation and stuff, but it was still by far the wealthiest club. It accumulated success in a great way. It built great structure, and Jose Mourinho was praised so highly because of the dominant team that he created. No one really solely cared about the fact that there was just money being pumped in. There was obviously some skill that was applied to that as well.
Yeah,
Pep Guardiola, when people say Pep Guardiola isn't a good manager without big players, do you know what? Maybe you're right. Because, you know, when you haven't got the best players in the world, there's one of two things that can happen. You can either get the best out of them, which means you're going to win a lot of games, or you're going to piss them all off to where they don't want to play for you. And then that creates discohesion. That creates inconsistencies. Pep Guardiola is so good at having 11 to 18 world-class players being on board with one vision and all aligning on or singing off the same hymn sheet. And then they go out and they absolutely smash it. Like, okay, he never won a Champions League for a long time, but you can see by how dominant he is in the Champions League in the games that they do win. He's a good coach. Premier League, all the points that he's accumulated, great coach. Like Jurgen Klopp's great, but he hasn't got the silverware. The overall spectrum that you quantify a world-class manager, Pep's got it all.
Yeah. Listen, and I think when we talk about Pep as well, I don't think people realise some of the players he gets that weren't highly rated. Like when he took John Stones, you know, when he took Nathan Ake, you know, when he took Raheem Sterling, I'm not saying Raheem Sterling, he wasn't a world beater. You know, he's taken Akanji, Alvarez. You know, he gets these players and elevates them. So listen, top manager. I'm talking of top. Who is the best footballer to have ever played football, and why?
Lionel Messi, and it's not even close. Based on my perspective, I understand some people could say Maradona. Just one person I don't accept in that conversation is Cristiano Ronaldo. I just don't. I just think he was very good at what he done. I don't think you can say the best footballer to have ever played the game. I think that's ludicrous. I think there was elements where you could argue Luis Suarez as a footballer superseded Ronaldo for the last 10 years. I think he was great, Ronaldo. I just think Messi, how Messi even gets compared to any. I understand it's good to have a debate in anything. You know, when there's a big fight, in boxing or MMA being built, it's good that there's competition. You don't want the fans thinking it's just going to be one-sided. It's good when you're sceptical about the result. It's the same in football. Like, he done so well at that narrative. They really did. Like, the marketing team of Ronaldo is brilliant because he done it because of the numbers. Yeah. But that's what they did. They made the game about numbers. It kind of like, I think Ronaldo's one of the big reasons why the game is like the way it is now, where everyone's focusing on numbers. Because he was so, like, people now have the goggles of their eyes where they see Ronaldo getting numbers and he's now the best player in the world. So I just need to get numbers to be considered the best player in the world, when on ability, it's not even close. Messi is just superb. When he got that World Cup, do you know what? It probably was scripted. If it weren't, wow, like it might as well have been. That's how it went. He dominated every game.
I'll tell you what I was laughing at is, do you know what? Anybody that's answered Lionel Messi, by the way, me as well. But anyone that's answered Lionel Messi, they always say Lionel Messi, and it's not even close, or Lionel Messi, and there's not even a debate. I love that the Messi fans are so much like. I agree. This Messi-Ronaldo debate for the last 20 years or however long it's been going on, I've watched them both like the rest of us have. I don't think there's a competition between them. I think their numbers alone are what people debate. But as a footballer, Ronaldo can't do half the things Lionel Messi can do.
But you get CR7 fanboys actually debating, like, dribbling back on the day for it's like, no. Just because he's done a couple of steps, we've got to differentiate what proper football is. Messi is everything. He could take free kicks, he could pass, he could run, he could go past 10 players, he could finish. And he got numbers.
And he got numbers. Absolutely. Next question. This is the last 5. Question 6 is, most excited you've been for a new signing that then flopped?
That's a good question. That's the first one that popped to mind, because I started getting into football probably around 2000s and like I've watched football on and off from like when I was like 3 or 4, but when I started getting into it a bit more, it was like 7 years of age. And anyway, for the first like 5 years of being a supporter, I only watched my team. I didn't watch like the Premier League and whatever. When we signed Balotelli, right, I was just like, I was like, I've heard good things about him. Know what I mean? Like, he's been a big name in recent time, and he was like really popular because of how controversial he was and that. And if you looked at his like skills and compilations, it was actually half decent. You know what I mean?
Good old YouTube.
He might be sick, but he looks decent. And anyway, and you looked at his resume, and it was good. And then I was like, we've actually got a good player there. Bear in mind, he was the Luis Suarez replacement. So I was thinking, like, I think he can do a job. Everyone was, I don't know, it's Mario Balotelli. I was like, I think he can do a job. And lad, he was so bad. So bad, it was untrue. I was like, nah, they'll click for him next game, watch that. And even worse. I'm thinking, this is bad, this. So, first one that came to mind was Mario Balotelli, but there'll be other ones. Naby Keita would be a good shout for that as well.
Naby Keita, Don't worry, we've got Ndombele.
Ndombele.
hands down. Our record signing, hands down. The question 7. If you could remove one thing from modern football, what would it be and why?
Oh, that's a great question. One thing that I'd remove from modern football, I'd probably say, I think the most, like some people, has anyone said VAR to you?
I mean, you're like the 40th person we've done this with. VAR's come up a lot. We've had social media. We've had what have we had?
Do you know what? If it would, because I'm thinking of rules and regulations. Yeah, if we can include social media, that would be great. Because I think it would fix our perceptions on players a lot better. I think because we get to see each individual moment broken down day after day, sometimes weeks after the game. Like if Van Dijk gets cooked once, it's on Twitter forever, and it will get resurfaced. And
you're right. You're right.
And when it comes to those all-time debates, that's why modern-day players are going to fall short of them, because you just remember the greatness that the great players done. And yes, the majority of the time they was great, but there was still those moments where they would get slandered, mate. You know what I mean? Ryan Giggs, when Man United won the league, I think was it 98? Might have been 99. I'm not too sure exactly, but he scored like 2 goals or something for one of those seasons. Look at Jack Grealish. So influential for City. I'm not saying he's Ryan Giggs, by the way. I'm just saying.
But so because he doesn't get 15, 20 goals. Yeah.
But then think about if he was playing the way he's playing now, back in the day, and he was that influential, people wouldn't talk about Jack Grealish the way that they do. So I think these players have fell short of that, and that's just the way it is nowadays. So probably social media.
Yeah. It's interesting. Question 8. If Liverpool could sign any 2 players realistically this January, by the way, everyone, we're recording this on the 19th of December, so the window opens in 12 days. Who are you picking and why? Realistic.
Yes. Yeah. So in terms of a holding midfielder, I think there's so many good options that we could go out and get, because a holding midfielder is so necessary, brother.
That's all I hear your fan base talk about, by the way. Is Liverpool need a DM. Yeah.
Yeah, listen, I love the Japanese Iniesta Enzo Wataru, lad, but like I can't do with him no more. He's just not the standard. Is all I'm saying.
Right.
I'm trying to think of like a ball playing CDM that I'd be happy with, because we're not going to get one. So I haven't been looking out for one, because there's none that we're going to get. We don't want one, because Klopp's happy with the midfield. He's going to persist with like McAllister and stuff. I'm sure there's probably some decent Argentinian CDM that we can get, but the type of player that I probably would have wanted would have been like a Declan Rice type player. But who that would have been, I'm having a bit of a blank, so I'm not too sure.
Yeah. See, I think, check out, if you haven't seen him, Real Sociedad have got a guy called Zubamendi.
I saw him from the summer.
Yeah, he's a good player. A bit Rodri-esque, I would say, maybe a bit Rodri-esque. But
that's the type of profile that I'd want. So with the fact that he's at Sociedad, he's probably a bit proven. He's probably played for them a bit now. 100%. Someone like that, good age, I'd assume, because I remember him being quite young.
Yeah, he's quite young.
He's young. They're the years that Klopp really wants to develop a player. He fits with the ethos of what we're building, like newer, younger players like Gravenberch, Szoboszlai, slots in really well. And then obviously, if you're telling me he's a Rodri type player,
he just gets on the ball and likes to play, and because DMs have changed from back in the day. DMs used to be destroyers, didn't they?
Yeah.
Now Rodri, Busquets, those type of players have kind of reinvented what that role looks like. It's more of a quarterback, right? And that kind of thing. So, listen, my favourite 2 questions. I love this because the answers are normally always a YouTuber, which is great fun. I want to know what the worst football opinion you've ever heard. And it can be a player, a manager, a pundit, a YouTuber, someone in your comments.
So when Núñez first joined Liverpool, he was getting compared to Luis Suarez a lot. And I thought that was just such a terrible take. I thought it was. Like, people were genuinely trying to say he was going to get to that level. And I didn't never understand it. I just didn't see it. And what's good is that recently, on the day that we're recording, more people are asking, more Liverpool fans are asking questions about Núñez now. Because I'll be honest, I think he's a fine striker if you're trying to compete for, like, Europa League, or if you're trying to get top 6 or something like that. I think he can do a job, or as a backup. But the fact that he was ever thought as an £85 million striker, and people were saying he was going to be better than Haaland, there's probably the take I'd say. He's going to be better than Haaland.
He's going to be better than Haaland.
That to me was absolutely diabolically clear. I just say, like, this is why social media is bad, because you look at the stats and it goes, oh, we're getting this player. But what people didn't see is that he had loads of space in the Portuguese league, and he had a team that, like, really got him in good positions. We get him great chances, but he just squanders them so much that, maybe sometimes you'll find that streak of games where he just gets goals after goals after goals, but you get so much inconsistency from him. He's not reliable. So, that's probably what I'd say.
Oh, I like it. I like it. Good. And then the last one is, what's your most controversial football opinion? An opinion that James Redmond has, that other people go, oh, shut up, James. What are you talking about? And you truly believe it.
Yeah, it was Núñez for a while, to be honest, because I've been calling out Núñez since he's joined. Probably the quote that I'm most famous for, Sadio Mane, best player in the world. Guess what? Probably no one believed it. But when they watched that video for the 1 minute and 20 seconds that video lasts for, they believed it. And it's because it was that damn convincing. And that's what it is. If you need a lawyer, you hire me. If you need me to sell your product, you hire me. I put Sadio Mane on the map. Prior to that, Sadio Mane has won no trophies with us or Senegal. After that, he won everything. Like, that dude, I'm telling you now, we worked with each other well, mate. It was like a business partnership that, like, never officially happened.
Is this the video that was outside the ground?
Yes.
Did I see you? Yeah, I've seen that, and I was just like, wow, what is this guy going on about? But listen, he had a great career, didn't he, in the end? He had a great career on Mane.
Do you know what, lads? The statement lived quite well. You know what I mean?
It's all down to you. It's all down to you.
It's all perspective, man.
Yeah,
it's all perspective.
Of course it is. Listen, just a quick, tiny little bonus question.
Let's go.
Talk to me. Where are Liverpool finishing this year for you? Where are Liverpool going to finish?
I think third. I think third or second. I have a feeling Arsenal are going to continue what they're doing. It's just one of those where they're a results-based team. They don't play great all the time, but they're getting good results. And that's how we won the league when we did. We just kept getting results, 2-1s, 1-0s. It weren't flatter than 4-0s. You get the odd one, but not all the time. But yeah, I just see them being in it. And then with De Bruyne being back, let's be honest, it kind of just gives us a glimpse in the future of just 20-game unbeaten streaks. So I'm not going to write off City either. So I'll say third, which I think is fine for the first season of the rebuild. And it is mainly influenced because of our game against United the other day. I just thought, not good enough. You'll bottle it in a big game. If you can't beat these, you'll bottle it in a big game. And that means these young players that we've acquired need a bit more experience just to get through those games that are must-wins, essentially. So yeah, I'll say that.
There we go. Listen, James, thank you so much for giving me 20 minutes of your time. I really appreciate it. I'm sure people will be really happy to see what you've said. Where can people find you? For anyone that hasn't subscribed to you already, where can they find you?
To see controversial takes on YouTube, you go to James Redmond TV. To see amazing takes on Twitter, the most active guy on Twitter. Not really, but great takes. James Redmond _96 on Twitter. And then if you want to go and see the most gorgeous face in all of its beauty, you go to James Redmond 97 on Instagram. So, thanks.
There we go. Beauty, brains. He's got absolutely everything, this guy. James,
and the muscles.
And the muscles. Always a pleasure to share a screen with you. Please go and subscribe to James. Subscribe to Football Heritage TV if you haven't already. Right. Please like as well. And as always, come on, you Spurs.
Up the Reds.